Hi, thanks for tuning in to High on Horror. I'm Drew.
And I'm John. This episode and every future episode is dedicated to all the horror hounds and smokers out there who want to expand their knowledge of the genre and have a good time.
Today we're reviewing Lover's Lane. You know, the place where you park your car and go through the bases until you hopefully hit a home run.
Hopefully.
Well, we're not talking about that Lover's Lane. We're talking about the slasher from 1999 that came in the heart of the teen slasher boom that Scream started. Lover's Lane, despite being a financial success, is still very much overlooked, or should I say, overhooked, since there's a hook man. No?
Man, how many puns you gonna have today?
Lover's Lane is also the first distributed movie of Anna Faris. So, is this movie worth unearthing, or did it get lost in the folds for a reason? Tune in today to find out on High on Horror. Interviews, reviews, and the latest news all rolled into one. If you hear that train noise, you know what time it is. It's time for Strain Wreck, the way we like to start off every show. The segment of our show where we discuss what we're smoking this episode, or what strain we're smoking, should I say. To start us off on the right foot, John, what are we doing, man? What are we smoking today?
We're gonna smoke one. It's we're smoking an indica that's very calming.
Okay.
Vanilla Kush.
Oh, I like that.
As pretty moderate to high THC. The indica strain comes from Barney's Farm in Amsterdam and clinched second place overall in the 2009 High Times Cannabis Cup for the Coffee Shop and Seed Company. Bred from Afghan and Kashmir strains, this Kush beauty is a gift to the senses with her notes of vanilla, lavender, and a hint of citrus. Plants flower in 8 weeks and produce large, soft flowers that are light green with a hint of orange. We got sleepy, relaxed, hungry, dry mouth.
That's us all the time anyway. Sleepy, tired, hungry.
That's fair. Dry mouth, dry eyes, and dizzy apparently. And let me see. I had this. Here was the review I saw. Somebody said, "Smoke this beauty when I visited Popeyes in Amsterdam." This strain has to be one of my top 3 selected due to the fact the smell was completely out of this world the moment I opened the bag. The bud tender handed me, the bag the bud tender handed me, I immediately got a strong smell of lavender. Funnily enough is how it's written. Once I rolled a blunt, I took a dry draw of my Philly and felt like I had chewed on lavender. Once I Waka Flocks that shit, every single draw I took tasted like what I'd imagined Megan Fox's bathwater tastes like. Seriously, never came across a strain like this in my life. Once I P-Diddy'd the blunt, I felt as if the coffee shop was floating on water or some shit because the whole goddamn place was rocking. I don't freak out or anything. I just laugh myself stupid in the corner of a shop eating a space cake looking like Doug Benson at a birthday party. I don't know who Doug Benson is.
Either. What the fuck?
I was too faded to even think about getting more before I left, but trust me, if you get a chance to get your hands on this strain, jump at that shit and remember, don't smoke meth. Shit will fuck you up, boy.
Okay.
I mean, some pretty good life lessons on that last sentence.
That was a hell of a review. I like that you're reading these reviews. They're quite entertaining, actually.
Yeah. I mean, I am purposely trying to find the most outrageous reviews each time, but I'm not hiding that.
Did you load the bong up?
No, I didn't. Sorry,
it is Strain Wreck, man.
I'm sorry, we just smoked before we recorded. I forgot about it.
So, so let's talk about Lover's Lane a little bit before we get into the movie. So the writers, Jeff Miller and Rory Veal, they got the project greenlit themselves after being let down by prior work of theirs never getting greenlit. To get this, the original version had more humor, but most of it was filtered out in rewrites. There was a total of 14 drafts of the script. 14.
Really?
14 drafts of the script, right? You wouldn't think that when you watch the movie, right? That it went through 14 rewrites.
No. I would not think it went through 14 drafts. Wow. I'd be interested to see what the first draft was.
Yeah, same. The first rewrite was the opening scene, and it was a helicopter shot. And that shot ended up being filmed in the director's garage, John Stephen Ward, and his house was also used for other pickup shots as well. And the director, John, wasn't even the first choice of director for Lover's Lane, but due to pre-production taking so long, the first director dropped off. So.
I mean, I wonder how many script rewrites he sat through.
Yeah, like what did the script look like when he was on board? That's a good question.
And how many times had it been rewritten at that point that he was just like, I'm done.
He probably thought this might never happen. This is too many rewrites, you know.
I just can't believe it went through 14 though.
Right.
It still baffles me.
And I had
It
mentioned
went through
earlier.
14. That's what they settled on.
Yeah, 14.
Okay.
They had all the different drafts were printed on different color paper, and they counted 14 different colored pages throughout the draft.
Interesting.
So yeah, but and I mentioned that the movie was a financial success. But that was mostly due to the video market. Blockbuster actually distributed it, and it did very well. But it did just as good, if not better, with overseas distribution. So it was a success because profit was made.
That's surprising to me because, I mean, granted, we weren't in the horror the level we are now, but I mean, that's like if something came out, you kind of knew.
Yeah.
I just feel like I don't remember Blockbuster ever like hyping that movie.
No, me neither. I don't remember seeing it at Blockbuster, so it's interesting because it's definitely one I would have picked out. You know.
Yeah, that's yeah.
You know, and another thing worth mentioning before we review the film, and before you listeners out there check it out, is that some of these scenes are dark. As I'll mention later during when we're rating the movie, during my rating, I'll talk about some of these dark scenes. But the dark scenes are from the fact that Lover's Lane was filmed on film, pre-digital. So and they didn't have they couldn't look at dailies to see how some of the shots came out. So so they would just film and then move on to the next scene, and then they'd get scenes back from the prior day that they were too dark. But too bad the ball's already rolling, and you just have to roll with it. So some of the shots are dark. And they didn't have time for reshoots. So you are going to witness a good scene or two that's just really, really dark. And
really dark, and then I feel like it's really contrasted when you see like some of the scenes by like a house that has a lot of light. It just looks so bright. There's times it almost looks like it's daytime.
Right.
Because of how dark the previous scenes are.
Agreed. Yeah. And so I'll stop rambling here, John, so you can go ahead and walk us through the plot.
All right, Lover's Lane is a 1999 American slasher film directed by John Stephen Ward and starring Aaron Dean, Riley Smith, Sarah Lancaster, and as you brought up in her feature film debut, Anna Faris. It was also known as I'm Still Waiting for You.
I like that title, actually.
Yeah, that's probably better. Actually, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
The film is based on, the urban legend of the Hook and follows around a group of teenagers who are terrorized by an escaped mental patient in and around Lover's Lane. And getting into the plot here, 13 years ago on Valentine's Day at a local Lover's Lane, Dee Dee and Jimmy were getting their smooch on in a car, and then bam, motherfucking maniac wielding a steel hook attacks them. But wait, there's more. They escape their car only to find another couple, Harriet and Ward, slaughtered in their car next to theirs. And then we enter a psychiatrist, because all good slashers need a psychiatrist.
Of course.
Jack Grief and Sheriff Tom Anderson, who were in shock to find his wife Harriet and one of the lovers who had been murdered. The killer, Ray Hennessy, is caught and revealed to be one of Jack's patients who had a thing for Harriet. Ray is locked up in the nearby institution for the criminally insane and given the nickname The Hook. Alright, so after that we fast forward to the present day and we're introduced to Jack's popular daughter Chloe and Tom's socially awkward daughter Mandy, who attend high school together. I feel like that's all high school kids in movies.
Yeah.
Like in the 90s. It's always if they have two daughters, it has to be like polar opposites.
I agree.
It's not that both of them are super popular, both of them are nerdy. It's the one's like the cheerleader and the one's like
the nerdy goth chick or something. Yeah, totally.
Anyway, they attend high school together. During a class, Chloe overhears that her boyfriend Michael is planning to break up with her. So in a fit of rage, she tries to drown him in the pool. Jack is called to school where he meets with Principal Penny Lamson, and Chloe gets suspended from school while Michael is grounded by his mother, Principal Penny. Things take a dark turn when the Hook retrieves his weapon and escapes the mental institution. Sheriff Tom warns Penny, as her husband was having an affair with Harriet and was murdered along with her. Later that night, Michael sneaks out of his home to meet with his friends at the bowling alley, including Chloe, Mandy, and a few others. Deputy David Schwick is put in charge of keeping Chloe and Mandy safe. Chloe's trying to make Michael jealous and leaves with Bradley to go to Lover's Lane. As the pair travel in their car, Chloe enters a store unaware that the owner is murdered as she departs.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And Deputy David also enters the shop and is promptly killed. It was one of those ones that you knew it was coming when she was going to the gas station.
Yeah, definitely. You knew something was going to happen. The setup.
Yeah, so meanwhile, Mandy, Michael, Janelle, Doug, Kathy, and Tim arrive at Lover's Lane. Like, I thought Lover's Lane's supposed to be secluded. Just you. There's, like, fucking just parties going on at this bitch.
That was like the one in Killer Clowns from Outer Space. There was so many cars parked up there. It's, like,
right?
just uncomfortable. Like, yeah.
Like, the whole point is you're supposed to be away from everybody so you can go, like, you know, feel people up, make out, whatever you want to do.
Do what you got to do, yeah.
Whatever you need to do up there. Like, you're supposed to be alone. Now it's like a fucking like kegger at this thing. Which also makes you wonder, like, how were these people dying? Like, there's like so many people there.
There's so
Nobody
many people
saw
around,
something.
right? Yeah, crafty killer.
The group finds Bradley's car only to discover that he and Chloe have been murdered before the hook arrives and stabs Tim to death. As the others try to escape in the car, Doug crashes into a tree, knocking everyone unconscious. After waking up, Mandy and Michael find the others gone and go to a nearby farmhouse where they arm themselves with a gun and find Janelle and Doug, who has a broken leg. And while Janelle tends to Doug's injury, Mandy and Michael go to the barn to retrieve the missing owner's car. What do you think? About There's Good to Stop?
Nah, it's an older movie, man. We don't need to do all that.
You guys don't get an ad today. So if you get spoilers, don't be mad at me. Be mad at Drew.
Yeah, I'll take the heat.
But also,
this movie's from 1999.
This movie's from the previous century. So
yeah,
do with that what you want. So I guess you could say this kind of served as a warning, maybe.
Yeah.
But anyway, for no time, back into the farmhouse, Janelle begins to hear noises before the hook smashes through a window. Janelle screams and runs upstairs and barricades herself in a room, but the hook gets in and slaughters her. The hook then kills Doug. In the barn, Michael and Mandy manage to get the car started. As Michael begins to drive, he accidentally runs over Kathy and kills her. As I say, as unoriginal as I feel like this movie feels for the most part, I don't know too many slashers that have somebody accidentally run over their friend on the ground.
That's true. Very true.
The pair re-enter the house and find Doug and Janelle dead before the hook attacks them. They lock themselves in the kitchen and turn on the gas before escaping out a window. They're trying to, what's his name? Eddie Caputo.
Little Child's Play reference there for you uninitiated out there.
For the uninitiated. So just like Eddie Caputo, the hook opens up the door, a match is sparked, and the house blows up. Although I guess in his case, he shot the gun.
Yeah.
But either way, boom goes the dynamite. Sheriff Tom and Penny go to Jack's house where they find a shrine devoted to Mandy before rushing the Lover's Lane. At the farmhouse, Michael and Mandy take the owner's car and begin to travel to town. On the way, they find Chloe still alive, who urges them to return to Lover's Lane as Bradley has survived. Upon arrival, Mandy leaves in Chloe's car only to find Bradley is actually dead. And that's before she's dragged away into a bush. In the car, Chloe attacks Michael with a hook, revealing herself as the killer. Michael escapes, but as Chloe exits, she is slaughtered by an unseen figure. Mandy's forced into a car by her attacker, revealed to be Jack, who tells her he was the one that had killed Mandy's mother, Harriet, and had survived the explosion at the farmhouse. Michael saves Mandy as a fight breaks out. Tom and Penny arrive and shoot Jack before Mandy kills him with a hook. The next day at Lover's Lane, Mandy and Michael are medically checked before they leave. Tom and Penny enter a police car that's revealed to be driven by Ray, the hook. And I also want to talk about how they were, quote, medically checked out.
Yeah. You mean how, like, nobody went to the hospital or had any x-rays done?
Yeah, they just literally got into the back of an ambulance and then just straight hopped out.
Yeah, just went home. That was a
Yeah, it was weird. I don't understand what happened. Like, I don't understand how you check somebody out that quick.
But before we, that's not the only thing that's unrealistic about this movie.
Oh, there's a lot.
But before we talk about our ratings, I wanted to say that the farmhouse at the end wasn't supposed to set on fire like it did. The pyrotechnics went overboard, and like the crew waited like hours and filmed it at 2 a.m. And the damn thing went up in a blaze. But luckily, the owner didn't care and was going to tear it down anyway.
Yeah.
That would have been fucking sucked. Could you imagine? That would have sucked.
Blockbuster had been paying him some money.
And also, Matt Reedy, who played Sheriff Anderson, he likes these types of roles apparently, and said that to get into character of Sheriff Anderson, he actually reached out for advice on things like holding guns and behavior and stuff like that. So I can't say that showed in the movie, but it's cool that he did his homework.
Yeah, you summed up how I would have worded that. That was cool that he did it, but I don't know that it was needed or necessarily came across.
Yeah.
But I guess maybe that's the whole point is like, you know, it's just a little thing so you don't necessarily notice it, but
Yeah.
Good for him though. Okay, I guess we'll jump into our ratings here.
Yeah.
Man, it's just a run-of-the-mill slasher pretty much from the 90s.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it barely fits into the 90s. It felt like more like it should have fitted with the late 80s, early 90s.
I agree, yeah. It felt a little dated for being 1999. I agree 100%.
But as we pointed out, like, from living from then and being a little younger than they would have been around that age.
The clothes, man.
The clothes were spot on. It was peak 1999.
And the hairstyles.
The only thing missing was the puka shells.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, like I pointed out the dude had on like the like sweater vest. It was like that beige yellow color.
Yep.
And then you pointed out the Hawaiian shirt with the baggy white t-shirt underneath.
Yeah, long sleeve shirt. Yeah.
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 Yeah, I mean, and those aspects, it felt very 1999-ish. But,
yeah, I did feel the times. Like looking at it, it kind of bring me back there a little bit.
But it did feel like some of those not so good late 80s, early 90s slasher movies.
Agreed. Yeah. One of those uninspired kind of like came way too late after the point.
And we were. It's funny. We were excited to see this. You told me you got it, but you and I'd never heard of it.
Right.
I was like, yeah, I'm in to watch this, and like 10 minutes in, you're like, oh, this is not going to be good.
Yeah, we might be in for trouble here.
Man, like a 4?
4 out of 10?
4 out of 10, 4 flat.
Okay. All right. Well, so let me just say that this is probably the most long-winded review that like I've ever done. So be prepared.
Okay, so this film got you a long-winded review, huh?
Yeah, so you'll see why. I have a couple of points that I need to make when we watched it. I was taking notes, and we were pretty baked, but there were certain things that stood out to me that, like, even as senseless as I was like, hold on a second. Yeah, so I'm just gonna start. Like I said, feel free to jump in at any time because I am likely to go on like a tangent here. But first of all, for starters, the movie gives us boobies in the first minute and 13 seconds.
Yes, I forgot about that.
First minute and 13 seconds. I mean, the movie's barely past the opening credits.
I went against my own rule. Remember, I made the joke. I went, well, actually, no, I didn't, because I said, oh, well, this automatically baseline puts it just at a 5 right now. So the rest of the movie was enough that it went back down below the 5.
Yeah, so again, we got boobies within the first minute and 13 seconds. So
I
gave it an automatic 3 points. I thought, oh, right here, automatically I'm going to give you 3 points on the board. But then they shot the hottest babe in the movie, Chloe's titties, in dark grain, barely visible. So I took my 3 points back that I originally gave the movie because I was pissed. And then I learned that it wasn't even Sarah Lancaster at all. That it was a damn stripper from Portland, Oregon, stepping in as a body double. So it wasn't even her tits to begin with. So that's another point taken off. So to start, the best that this movie could rate with me is a 6 out of 10 without any more flaws. If it's perfect at this point, the best that it can get is a 6 out of 10. And boy, does it have flaws. Let me start, okay? First of all, the killer's costume, weak as shit. One of the worst costume killers I've ever seen. And plus, Two killers like Scream, like you mentioned, uninspiring. They tried to up the intelligence of the script by having an actual hookman on the loose, like a third killer, like in actuality, but it falls flat. And the relationship with Chloe and Jack is absolutely sick and screams incest. If you look closely at Jack's book, it's not really shown clear, but if you look, he's this like he's this proud author. If you get a title, if you get a look at the title of Jack's book, it's called Sexual Deviance and the Father-Daughter Relationships.
Oh yeah, man. You cared way more to go in depth on this movie. This is all stuff that you're saying, and I'm like, oh yeah, I was done with that movie as soon as the credits rolled.
So, now speaking,
You've been sitting with this.
Yeah, like I said, I had a lot to say. Now speaking of Dr. Jack Grief, my first question.
That shit just sounds like it doesn't sound right. There's something about that name. It just sounds fucked up for some reason. And I don't know what it is.
But listen, when the movie started, okay, at the crime scene at Lover's Lane, my original question to you was, who is this guy and why is he there? Doctor or not, it doesn't make sense that he would just be there on a crime scene before the fucking sheriff showed up. Why would a psychiatrist show up to a murder scene?
Yes.
So when
you went in depth on this one.
So as you watch, you come to understand why he was there. Because of the twist, he was a killer. But I immediately didn't trust him and questioned his actions. So it's kind of predictable. He was immediately the person I looked at the whole movie thinking.
Because the whole time you're like, it's a psychiatrist, and then you didn't think it was a psychiatrist because they used the whole two killer thing.
Yeah. Yep. And then
in the end, you ended up being right.
And then we'll talk about the kills for a second. Okay, the kills are shy, but actually show a good amount of blood. But the thing that's stupid is that you see dead bodies with kill wounds. You don't get like gore or makeup during the kill. You got to wait till the deed is done, I guess, and then the camera will just go in and show you a clip of a slit throat or whatever. So overall, the kills are as they say, meh. However, Anna Faris has the best death scene, and it's a ripoff from The Mutilator. Remember that she gets she gets hooked through the gynae, and while we're talking about ripping things off,
some of the kills were good. I'll say that.
Yeah, even if they were not gory, like they were good. The kills were decent. Some of them, but as you noticed the scene in Lover's Lane, did you notice the scene in Lover's Lane that ripped off Scary Movie? That Scary Movie ripped off the scene where like Shorty's
which one
smoking.
came first?
So Scary Movie came after. But Scary Movie, remember when there's the scene where Shorty pulls up in the car with all his buddies smoking and everything, and that's where he uses his jumper cables to smoke? Yeah. There's that scene in Lover's Lane where like the dude with the Hawaiian shirt's driving, or the smoke coming out of the car, and they pull up on all the other friends. So you could see there was a little bit of taken. The fact that Anna Faris is in this movie, and then that a scene like that is in Scary Movie, makes me feel like they watched that movie and definitely took some inspiration from it. Do you have anything you want to say before I continue?
No.
Okay. And in the timeline of slasher films and their evolution, I think Lover's Lane leaves its mark. It's like a staple of the times from its particular time, if that makes sense. But like Cherry Falls, Valentine, I know what you did last summer, the Scream sequels, etc., etc. But I'd say that all of the ones that I just listed are better than Lover's Lane. Scream sequels and Cherry Falls included. And can we please talk about that fucking dog head in the refrigerator? This is the first and only time that I've ever seen a sculpted dog head with no real hair, just Sculpey or clay or whatever the fuck they used as a prop, and what's supposed to be a shocking scene. And it's just awful execution. Just a clay sculpted dog head chilling on a plate.
I got a question.
What's that?
Lover's Lane or Scream 6?
I'm gonna have to say Scream 6. Gonna have to. So that
might go Lover's Lane.
That brings me to my next point. I'm saying all these negative things about the movie, but would I watch Lover's Lane again? Absolutely. I love slashers, good and bad. My final rating is also 4 out of 10.
Yeah, but
4 out of 10, but rewatchable. Fair enough.
Oh shit! What was? Oh god, the fucking weed. What was?
God, the fucking weed.
Ah man, what the hell was the movie we reviewed? And I was like, it's like a 5.3, but I probably wouldn't watch it again.
Was that Pope's Exorcist?
Yes,
I don't even know.
Yes, yep,
just the one we just recorded.
Pope's Exorcist. I said 5.3. Would I watch it again? No. This, what did I give it?
4 out of 10.
4 out of 10. Would I watch it again? Probably.
Agreed. I don't know. So we just have that soft spot for slashers.
Would I watch it myself? No.
No.
I would watch it. It'd be something to throw on in the background, like just chilling.
Totally.
But like, yeah.
To sit down and pay attention to, I wouldn't watch it by myself. But with people or as a background movie, totally.
So, That tells you about our rating scale. So 5.3, not going to watch it. A 4, yeah, I'll probably watch it. Thanks to all the horror hounds and smokers out there for tuning in. And, yeah, so check out Lover's Lane more so than Pope's Exorcist. Even though Pope's Exorcist is objectively, well, I guess subjectively, the better movie.
Yeah.
Make sure to follow us online at High on Horror 420, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Next week, we have Where Are the Monsters Part 3. Go ahead, Drew, you can say it.
Godzilla vs. Destroyer.
Yeah, right. So it's that's going to be the first of our 2 lizard movies for Where Are the Monsters.
And our first Godzilla review that we've
Our
done.
amphibians. Is Godzilla an amphibian?
Yeah, yes he is.
Okay, so
Yep.
I didn't know technically. So, yeah, 2 amphibians, basically. Anyway, also you can send us some Puff Ass questions at highonhorror420@gmail.com. Check out our website, highonhorror.com. And I guess that'll about wrap her up. Catch you later.
See you next week.